Thank you for visiting Past the Wire TV, the YouTube channel of PastTheWire.com. Hello, everybody, and welcome to yet another episode of Past the Wire TV. I am here, fortunate enough to be here tonight with one of the most well-known, but that's not really what's important, one of the most successful and sharpest horse players in the game, Tommy Hammer Massis. And if you know me at all, coming from me, that means something, because there's not a lot of horse players out there that I give any props to or refer to with that high of a regard. But Hammer is one of the very few, maybe even the only exception to that rule. So with that, we're going to get to know Tommy Hammer Massis tonight very well, like very few people know him. But let's start with Tommy. Thank you so much for coming on Past the Wire TV. Welcome to the show. Pleasure to have you.
My pleasure as always, John. I love doing these things with anyone, especially you. And may I point out that there's something on the screen that says this meeting is being recorded, so I don't know if that's going to screw up your video.
It's not.
Okay, then I'm not worried about it.
Yeah, no, usually not there, but tonight it decided to be there, so it is what it is. Maybe
Yeah, you can click continue, I guess. I tried.
Yeah.
I just don't want it to screw up. We won't do a take two out loud.
This is it. So if anybody can't deal with it, they'll have to miss it. I think we'll be okay. So why don't we start this way, Hammer? Because you go back a long way in the game. You got a lot of experience. I've got a bunch of questions for you about a lot of different things, but let's start with kind of a chronological order of things from when you were young, maybe 6, 8, 10 years old, as far back as you could remember, as to the different things in your life that led you to become a professional gambler, because so few people become professional gamblers and so few become successful at it. So let's go back to a young Tommy Massis before you were the Hammer, far back as you could remember, and give us kind of a chronological rundown of some of the things and experiences that led you to become the Hammer.
Okay, well, the first thing I remember was when I was a little kid, probably 5 or 6 years old. I used to save up my quarters, and my mom was a waitress. I wait for her to come home from work. My kid brother would be asleep. It would just be me and my mom, and I'd bring her bucket of water for her sore feet, and she'd give me another quarter, and we used to play a game where we put our quarters in our hand, and we'd guess heads or tails. And my mom consistently took all my money. And one day, like the true suck that I am, I said, you must be cheating, Mom. And she slapped me in the head, said, yeah, I'm cheating. It took you so long to figure it out, stupid. And I go, why would you cheat me? She goes, remember this lesson. If your mother will cheat you, anyone will cheat you. So that's kind of the first lesson I learned, that I didn't know it was a lesson at that age, but later on, when you get get involved in gambling and deal with people and just people in general, it was a great lesson. I always remember that lesson.
That's a great lesson in life, just to begin with. I mean, that was a phenomenal lesson. I love that. But go ahead.
So when I was around, I'd say around 10 years old, the backyard of my house, or the back lot of my house, was flush onto this laneway. Now, a laneway, I don't know if you're familiar in the States, you call it laneways. It goes behind the businesses on a main street, and that's where they pick up the garbage, and that's their back.
We call that like an alley here.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, an alley. Yeah, back alley. So right in the middle of an alley, there was this place, Marco's Restaurant. And Bill Marco used to be a trainer, trained some champions at Woodbine. So back then, all I knew is there was a lot of guys in the back once a week, and they were throwing money on the floor and rolling these 2 little sugar cubes with spots on it. And, so, and then I noticed that the police didn't like this game. So one day, one of the older guys goes, hey, kid, come over here, right? There was this guy, I remember him well. His name was Nino, older guy. And he goes, you want to make $5? I go, well, what do I got to do? He goes, that game you kids play with the rubber bands? You put rubber bands together and you start low and you jump over. He goes, organize one game at this end of the lane, organize another game at this end of the lane. He goes, I'll give you $5 and then I'll bring sodas and stuff out to all your friends. He goes, but you have to be very careful. He goes, you know, cars are dangerous. I said, yes. He goes, so when you see a car, you all yell at the top of your lungs, car, right? So they had a guy keeping six in the middle, keeping six, watching out for the cops. So that was my first exposure to being in the gambling business at 10 years old.
Right.
So you learn from this guy, Nino, and I'd see Nino. Nino would drive a convertible Camaro and have these hot chicks and these suits, right? And then one day I see Nino on a broken down 10-speed with $2 Doris on the back, wearing ripped clothes. What happened? He said, kids, easy come, easy go. That's the life of a gambler. So you know, that's what I learned, you know, and these are things you don't even think about, but later on in life, those memories come and you know, they kind of help. They do hit you at certain times. So getting to the part of being a horse player. So when I was around 16, first time I went to the track when I was 10 years old, 13, 14, I started going with my uncle. And I remember I was going to high school and the shop teacher, Mr. Exelby, was an ex-CFL football player. He was the football coach and he taught shop. And he goes, so he goes to me, kid, he goes, what do you plan to be when you grow up? I go, I plan to be a professional horse player. Well, he started laughing. He goes, come on. I go, I'm serious. He goes, okay, no problem. Next morning, he comes to me, he goes, I got a special project for you, right? He goes, you don't do it during class. You don't have to hang out, learn nothing. Just you'll be in the corner. I go, what is it? He brings this big iron slab. And he goes, I want you to cut this down to 1-inch squares. And he goes, hey, if you get tired after 10 minutes, go to the restaurant, go have a coffee, go do whatever you want. And I go, hey, this is perfect. So it took me like 2 months and I got all these 1-inch square iron slabs cut and I called him over, I'm all done. He brings the garbage can and shoves all this 1-inch square blocks of iron into the garbage. I go, what are you doing? He goes, you said you wanted to be a horse player, right? A professional horse player. I said, yeah. I go, how's this going to help? He goes, when you're in jail, he goes, you'll know how to saw through bars. So you know, that was my first dream. Man, I got upset, man. I was mad. Like I didn't care about cutting the iron. I would have did that for every class to be able to take off after 10 minutes and go do what I want, right?
Right.
So, you know, by the time I'm 18, 19, I drop out of school. My friend gets me a job. I remember this meat company, shops, this big plant. And my friend's brother's the supervisor. And I was a kid still. So I wasn't, so he goes, I got the best job for you. So all these guys are, you know, hooking roast beefs and doing all this. I'm in a procession line with 5 ladies. They're putting these sausages in the box and they get to me the box and I'm putting stickers to Montreal, to Vancouver, to New York. So I had the easiest job in the world, right? So Friday comes, I get my paycheck, I go to the trots, I blow it. Go through another week, easy money, getting good money. Friday comes, I get my paycheck, I go to the trots, I blow it. My mom sits me down, she goes, you're 2 for 2 with your paychecks, eh? He goes, she goes, phone your friend, tell him to give him notice, tell him you can't work here no more if you got to work another week or 2. So I phone him and she goes, there's no discussion here. No son of mine's going to go to work and blow his money, hard-earned money in one day, right? She goes, you're better off staying home. So I quit that job. I learned that. And, you know, in my 20s after that, I was a loser. I was a degenerate gambler. I just was in it for I didn't sleep until I was broke. It would be from, you know, the racetrack to the poker room to the pool hall, nonstop, you know. And you know, I went through that stage and I got sick of it. And, you know, and I thought I was good. I thought I was good at the horses. I remember a fella says to me that I was going to the track with an older guy. He says, you think you're good, eh, kid? I go, yeah. He goes, you don't know you're alive, right? He goes, listen to me. And I said, explain it to me. And he explained things to me. And I said, you know what? You're right. I don't know shit, you know? So I started to get serious. I wanted to learn. And that's where I started. I wanted to learn. I started to do things different. You know, doing the same thing all the time and expecting a different outcome is insanity or something like that. So I started to learn. I wanted to learn. I hung out with this guy, hung out with that guy, learn from gamblers. And then the defining moment came, you know, when I was working and still working and donating, feeding the horses. I was about 36. My mom passed away. And before she passed away, I was working for my friend in the restaurant, washing dishes, doing deliveries. And my mom goes, you know how many times I've told you? She goes, gambling and work don't mix. You remember that job when you were 19 and this and that? And she goes, listen, she goes, you have to make up your mind. You're either going to work or gamble. Promise me you won't do both. And I said, I promise. She goes, okay, so call your boss tomorrow and quit your job. She goes, because I know you ain't quitting the horses, right? She goes, figure it out. She goes, just don't do both. Well, I didn't listen to her right away, but I found out I was working in this place and I was in the gaming industry. I was making 3,600, 4,000 on a bad week, cash money, and broke. Have to go to the boss and borrow rent money, broke. So we took a hiatus. We had to close down for renovations.
Right.
And within 3 months, I got 30 G's in my pocket. I paid him back the money I owed, 30 G's, and I'm, betting horses, and I'm going, my mom, she was right. She was right. And I was just starting to turn that corner. In 2006, I blew up my back for the second time. I blew it out when I was young. I blew it out bad. I couldn't walk for months and, really got depressed and, it was really effed up bad, right? You can't walk and you got no income in that. And all those saying to me, my mom's words, figure it out, figure it out, figure it out, figure it out. And I figured it out. I figured out what my main problem was, and it's having good friends, right? I'll give you some other background. When I was 16, I started smoking pot and got worse up until 2008. I got really bad on the drugs, but I was functioning. And my friends who knew me well would say, I can't believe how sharp you are. You do all these drugs and this and that. And he goes, you're the sharpest guy we know. And one day, good friend of mine, and he kept calling me dum dum. I go, what the F's with the dum dum? Because you're becoming the stupidest guy in here, and we gotta, we hang out in a place with dummies. He called them doctors, doctors, but he meant dummies, right? He goes, what's going on with you? And I go, yeah, I've been noticing that. So 2008, I had enough. I quit drugs. I remember November 8th, 2008 was the last time I got high. And I felt, I couldn't deal with it. And I found, I couldn't really deal with it, and I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat, or I ate too much. And I was going, and someone said to me, he goes, why don't you see a psychiatrist? I go, I'm nothing wrong with me. I just, I'll get over it. And he goes, someone insisted. Someone went and saw a psychiatrist. The guy made me answer these questions, talk to me for 10 minutes. He goes, I'm pretty sure you suffer from depression and you're bipolar 2. Not also. It's called bipolar 2, right? It's not as bad. I didn't have real bad manic, but I'd get all ramped up, and he started explaining things. Do you do this? Do you do that? Yeah. Because you pick up the phone and start calling her, and he's getting through to me, right? So I went through that. I went through taking his meds to me. He said I was self-medicating my whole life, and he was probably right. Not probably, dead right. So I started taking their meds, and that kind of helped. But then that got to where it wasn't for me, and I got to the point where I could just deal with stuff. And I know it's hard. I wouldn't want to tell anyone out there who goes through this stuff to quit their medication and deal with it. But I found a way. I'm single, I live alone, and I found a way that, when I have to shut down, just go home, shut down, try to stay away from people. When I'm ramped up, it's great. It's the greatest feeling on earth. But I have friends and family that know, they'll say, whoa, they'll give me the whoa, and I'm okay, So, having manic episodes, they're minor. They're nothing like you'd see in the movies for weeks and that. So I learned to deal with that. And, I was basically just working on myself and doing nothing. And one day I can say this word, this piece of shit calls me. And him and this other guy that I like said, listen, we know you've been doing nothing. Goes, let's go out for dinner. You need to get out. Well, I'll buy you dinner, this and that. I go, listen, I'm not going to the racetrack, whatever. He goes, no, we're not going to the racetrack. We're driving. And he pulls up to an OTB, a restaurant with an OTB in it. And I got $60 in my pocket, man. Believe me, if I knew, he was buying dinner, I still wanted to bring some money with me, I would have left it at home. So he throws the programs, it was trots in front of my table. And, like the sick person that I am, right? I picked it up and I lost $24 and I was steamy, man. I go, I called him every name in the book and he's laughing. And the other guy that was closer friends with him, he had a disgusted look. He wasn't happy that the guy did that to me. He understood, right? And then, I'm getting pissed off. And he goes, well, here's Northfield, right? So I'm pissed off. I'm not tilt. I grab Northfield. I look, there's a pick four coming out. I bet $24. And it was short prices. And I hit the thing and they put up $15,000. I go, can this be right? And some guy goes, yeah, it was like a double carryover or something, right? So I went to the guy, I put the thing in the machine, but I come out, I give the piece of shit 200 for dinner. I give the other guy 1,000, right? I go, lose my number. And I didn't turn back from that day. I started to play. I started to get my confidence back. I started not to dwell on the problems I had. And a guy I was playing with, probably the best friend I ever had in my life, man. And he said to me, he goes, stop, I had my moniker with the waitresses called me Mr. Belmont. All my friends called me, my Twitter handle was Mr. Belmont. It's still up there. I just, I got rid of it when he goes, you got to stop betting Belmont. Let's bet Woodbine. He goes, I'll go partners with you. I'll put up the money. He goes, we're there. We know all these clowns. We know everything, this and that. And, and he's telling me it starts at April, ends of December. He goes, they have the TVs over there
that I met with you at the Breeders' Cup that year that we sat together.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Good looking Sicilian kid. Where was it?
When what year was it? We sat together.
Where, Churchill?
Yeah, Churchill in this.
I don't think so.
Room. Okay.
No, I don't think so. No, he came out to California with me a couple times, but he's played horses his whole life, but got the family thing going and that, right? So anyway, he says, you see these TVs over here? He goes, yeah. He goes, well, after the first 3 races, they put up the replays for the first 3 races. After the races 4 to 7 on this TV, they put up 4 to 7. That one's yesterday's. He goes, come over here, start watching the replays, take notes. He goes, and you're doing it, So that's when I first started doing that. And this guy changed my life. And this guy was a guy who would tell me, he goes, you bet like a girl. We're doing good. And I go, what's the matter? He goes, you bet like a girl. You're telling me, if you look at me now, bet like a girl. So he taught me the gambling part of it, right? And forget about Belmont. I know he goes, Belmont's nice horses, it's glamorous, Saratoga this, he goes, play where you can win. He goes, we'll be partners and you just play Woodbine. Don't play anything else or we're done. And it changed my life. I never had to work since then. And it's just mind blowing, we're making money. And then 2012, that's when I started playing the contest and had luck with the contest. But it was that 2012 Breeders' Cup. I went to play the Breeders' Cup. I want to see at Keeneland. One of the first times I went to Keeneland into the Breeders' Cup betting challenge. And just before that, I rescued this cat, Nico, who's no longer with me. And Nico was a calico. And I found the name Nico is a Japanese word for cat. And it said the calicos bring good financial luck to the home and this and that. And I believe in that stuff, right? And when I went to there, I had a strut to me. I felt I'm going to do something. I didn't win it. I came third. Long story short, I made 37,000, a good chunk of change. But I learned something that we've talked about before. It's a horse from when the form came out, the pre-forms, right? The advanced form. The one horse I put a line through, Trinity. The only horse I put, forget about, I seen this horse run a bias here, run a bias there. Trinity, I end up betting Trinity is the only winner I had, and I make 37,000. So that's the first time in my life, and I didn't know it at that time. I thought it was some kind of feeling. ESP is where the right side of the brain took over the left side of the brain. I've talked to you about that before. You did a piece on that on your site that I really like. Yes. And I just found out a couple of years ago, the same thing happened at Woodbine a couple of years ago, where I did a pod or a seminar, and I hated the one horse in the Molson Mile race or the Addo Mile, or I'll get shot if I don't remember the name, the Patterson Mile. No, it's a Patterson International, whatever, the Rico Mile. So anyways, I hated this horse, but I get up in a trance at 1 minute to post and go bet him at 60 to 1. I end up losing the contest to a real gentleman. I didn't mind the guy who beat me at all, Paul Sherman. So I lost by this much, and I'm I go, how did I bet that horse? I was in a conversation with 2 guys. I remember I remember who was there, and I just walked away from them and went to bet. And a guy later in Florida, I met this investment banker, and he said, you don't have ESP. It's not a gut feeling. And he explained how the left side of the brain is where you do all your data, and the right side of the brain does the computing and spits it out without you being part of the process. And he goes, "You've learned to go with it." And I go, "Yeah, it's helped me and it's hurt me in my life, doing that,
Right.
and I still do it. I jump on things, I answer questions. It's the right side of the brain. And sometimes it's not the right side, but whatever it is, I go with it. So, that kind of brought me to 2015, and then everything else is on Google and more common knowledge. But
Right.
it's been a life of going to school to be a gambler from when I was 6 years old. My mom who taught me the most lessons. And then, I can bring my uncle into teaching me how to bet a bit at the track and other people down the road. But school started at 6 years old for me, and I became a success at 2008. So 2008 and 63, you do the math, 45 years old, 46 years old, 47 years old, no overnight success. I went to school for a long time.
Right. No, and this game takes that, and we'll talk a little about that and some of the sacrifices. You know what's really interesting. I was a professional gambler too, as you know, for a long time, and there are a lot of interesting things about our lives, and even some of the stories you tell that parallel. Okay, and I always kind of knew that there would be situations like that and things in our lives that parallel. But the one thing that I'm surprised about is that you're a lot far behind me, and I don't mean that in betting. I mean in time period. Okay, because like in 2006 and 2007, when you were starting to get serious, I was starting to wind down and back off. Okay, my run, my power run, so to speak, was probably 91, 92 till about 2005 or 2006. And that's the point where I really changed and scaled back and started just approaching things differently and not, quote, playing for a living, so to speak. But other than that, there were just so many similarities, and I didn't realize that I was that far behind you. You know what I mean? Or you were that far ahead of me, however you want to word it, career-wise. And it's interesting because I think, and I think you would agree, so much has changed in the game from when I did it to when you did it. And I will give you this prop. I'm not saying that it was ever easy, okay? Because it was never easy, and it was always tough, and it was always a very small percentage of players, as you know, that are able to beat this game. Okay, very, very small, and we both know what it takes, and we can talk a little about that. But I think it's harder now and harder since you've been doing it than back when I did it in the 90s and the early 2000s. I think it's gotten a lot harder for a number of reasons. And I'll be the first to say that I'm really glad that I don't have to play for a living today, because as tough as it was, I think it's tougher now, and I don't think I would enjoy it. One of the things that got me through it, and you tell me if it was the same for you, is as much work as it was, Emma, and as many sacrifices as I had to make, and there were a lot, and I'm going to ask you about some of the ones that you've made, I enjoyed it. It was the life I've chosen. You know what I mean? I loved what I did. I loved the challenge. I loved the wins, and I knew how to deal with the losses, and I loved the action and the excitement and even the uncertainty. I embraced it all, Is it like that for you well, I know you're winding down a little bit now and changing now too, but when you were in your heyday of it, was it like that for you? Were you doing something you truly loved?
Yeah, in a way. But I'll tell you the truth. I just love to have fun and party and go to the track, be smashed and high and party, and then go out and party with girls. Everything was a party. And it was until 2010, and I had a partner, and and I known the guy for a while, so I had to get serious.
Right.
I had to get serious, because someone else is relying on me now.
Right.
And I told them all the time, if I was on my own, I would have never been a success, because I could slack for myself. I could get lazy. I am lazy. My main thing in horse racing is I got to streamline everything to make it not a job, to make it easy. Play
Right.
one track, do things efficiently, get rid of what I call clutter, a lot of this biases and sheets and all this and all that. And it's all clutter, man. Just focus on the gambling part, right? And not worry about, the things that are wrong with the game, the rebate shops, the rebates going to the wrong people. Now I understand you bet more money, you get rebates, but I like the way Hong Kong does it. You come to the track, you bet, we'll give you 10% of your losing tickets on certain bets. You don't come to our track, beat it, get a job, right? And these guys plugging into these computer systems, right? I want to see how many of these guys with rebates and getting to plug into the computer system can beat the game. They beat Ugats, that's what they'll beat, nothing. They'll have to find a job if that changed, right? Because they're basically cheating. I don't care what you call it. They're getting permission to cheat, but they're cheating, right? They're cheating, and if you went to the track with a monitor and played this, what I'm saying now, you get 1%, and you come to the track every day. These guys in Idaho get 13% plus. They're tied into the system, and they can do that, and they get that, and they get that. These people, if they didn't quit, they probably shoot themselves. Say, really? That's what I'm up against. That's what I'm up against. It's insanity what can go on with these 20-cent pick six and these groups, and then all the people out there who are sharp. I only play on mandatory days. The biggest jerks in the game, if you ask me. Those are the guys, right? Oh, so this game is set up for parasites. We'll wait till the final day. We're going to jump on and be parasites too, right? It makes me sick, but I let it go. I just think, how do I beat these guys? And that's the only way to play the game today. How do we beat these guys? I got to play different. So I know all the sharp guys out there, real sharp guys, out there. I don't even want to start. But they do biases, they do speed figures, they do that, they do computer systems. So they all do that, and they're starting to count. I'm gonna go the other way. I'm gonna go the other way, and I get made fun of. I beat these guys in contests all the time, and they laugh at me. I come into a contest room. I got a little dollar store notebook about an eighth of the size of this piece of paper, and these guys are coming in with computers, with algorithms, and one guy looks like he's in the cockpit of the Starship Enterprise, ready to blast off. And this one guy cracked to me, right? And I don't want to say nothing to him. Hey, buddy, I want to say, I did my work already. You're coming in to do your work. I did my work already. Now the only thing I got to do is figure out how to bet and have a good time at the track while I'm doing it, right? I'll get in. I'll do something in the future that'll blow people's minds, right? Everyone thinks they're advanced. I can't even begin to explain how I approach this game and do things that are out of the box and that, but everyone, you ask a question, you don't look at sheets, and you don't like biases, really? What's wrong with you? I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm a millionaire who lives in Florida half the year and doesn't have to work a day in his life and does whatever he wants. What's wrong with me? You got to question what you're doing. You can't follow the herd in this game. You can't. This is not football. You all can go bet on the same winner. You know what I mean? This is you got to beat each other. Right? It's looking at it. So if you're going to play in this day and age, shut up, right? Or quit. Like if you want to talk, quit and whatever, give up on the game. I get it, but stop talking about what's wrong. We all know what's wrong. Figure a way to beat it or get out.
100% on the same page. That's pretty much what I try and do. For my website and Pass the Wire, I talk about a lot of issues in the game. But as far as my betting, I'm on the same page as you, 110%. It's amazing some of the stuff that you hear out there from people about how they bet. And I've said this a long time. You hear people say, oh, I'm a great handicapper, but I'm not a good bettor. I'm a good bettor, but I'm not a good handicapper. I'm this, I'm that, I'm the greatest. I gave out this horse. I love this horse. All nonsense. Has zero meaning. There's only one benchmark that determines how good you are in this game. Okay, only one. And I don't care who you are or what anybody has to say. One benchmark, Hammer. If you beat the game and come out ahead and make a living playing horses, or can sit back a millionaire like yourself, like I said, and you do it beating this game, betting and beating this game, then you're good. If you don't, you're not. Doesn't matter how many winners you had, how great you say you are, how many people liked your post or said thank you for this ticket or that thing. There's one benchmark. You beat the game, you're good. If you don't, you're not. It's as simple as that. Agree?
Yeah, no, 100%. And let me add, I'm not against these guys with the computer system and that. My hat goes off to them, right? They're finding a way. They're finding a way. They found a way. You know, I'm not going to take the moral high ground with anyone. I'm not that guy. I'm not going to preach about it. It's wrong, but they're finding a way to do it. They're really good at doing it. They're really good at getting hold of racetrack management and getting their way. And my hat's off to it. I really, don't want to knock anyone, but if everything came on a even, level playing field, they have to go find a job. I'm proud that I beat this game. I beat this game fair, square, no rebates, really, no nothing, no cheating, right? Believe me, if I could cheat, I would cheat.
Right.
I would do what they do. Yeah, hey, this game,
I've known a couple of them. Some of them are not are 100% reliant on the computer and on the rebates. Some of them are sharp and good handicappers as well. I don't know how many. I don't know that I would call what they do cheating, because it's not illegal. They're given it. They're allowed to do what they do, and you could be allowed to do what they do if you went through the same process that they do to get approved and be able to do it.
Yeah, but when you get to the point, I said it's cheating in a way, but they're getting permission. I said that they're getting permission. It's if you educated the public on what they get to do, there'd be a revolt. But we don't educate. You can't look at Twitter and 200 people, 300 people.
With that, Hammer. I did an interview with one of those guys, where we pretty much and most of there's 4 of the big high volume outlets that these guys play through. Okay, a couple of them were involved in the interview and involved in what these guys have access to, what they don't, how it all works. And I learned quite a bit about it and saw quite a bit of what they see, what they don't see. And I think that the opposite. I think if people saw what these guys do and how they do it, they'd be like impressed and wow. But
no way. You're talking of elite group of horse players might be wowed and impressed. I would be, but the core of your business coming in every day with their paychecks, you're giving these people the right to rob them, to take all these advantages. Nobody should have those advantages to plug into the tote system like that. Nobody. Come on. And if you're going to let people put that in your program. By the way, before you play, this is what we let people do. You can do it too. It's your choice now. Do you want to plug into our system and you can do it too, but you got to bet 100 million a year. Come on. It's not fair, John. I know life's not fair. But if you think that's fair, it's bullshit. It's absolute bullshit. And believe me, from this day to the day I die, I'm going to do whatever I can to stop this bullshit.
Right.
And this is a guy who beat this bullshit, and it's nothing but bullshit is what it is, right? God bless them. They found a way to make money, right? But they're wolves preying on sheep. People could say that about me, but that I'm better. It's not about being better. It's gaming the system. And then when you get executives to put the kind of bets you want and you dictate in that, come on, that's not fair. That's not right. They should be ashamed of themselves.
I don't know. I'm not on the same page with you there. I actually like them in the pool.
Nah, it's not about me or you, John. It's not me too. I don't care. It's not about me or you. But it's going to get out there. It's going to get out there. Somebody's going to crack in mainstream media, in the newspapers, CNN, whatever, all this stuff. And the horse player, there's going to be a revolt.
What is it that you think they have access to that they shouldn't?
Anything. They should not be in the toaster. They should not be allowed to bet with computers. Punch out your friggin' tickets like everyone else. Start at that. They shouldn't get rebates more than anyone that walks into the windows. I don't care how much they bet.
Those are facts. They do.
Yeah. Whatever they get too many advantages and it's tilted too much one way. God bless them. But then when, like, these 20-cent pick six are there for these guys. It makes no sense for no one but them.
It's our choice to play them.
No, hold on, but it makes no sense. I don't play, but it makes no sense to have that bet. For the racetrack, for the horseman especially, for the gambler especially, it only makes sense for one group of people. And that's the only reason that bet is there. I don't care what anyone tells me. It's the only thing that makes sense. If it's any other reason, then everyone who has the bet, every racetrack who has a 20-cent bet has no clue. How they get away with this stuff, what the Strana group did with the lead and all that, how you let this game go like that. And the horsemen, you tell horsemen, they go, what are you talking about? Who, where, what? Like Vinny Barbarino. No one knows what's going on. They're getting robbed by their own partners. Right. It's a joke. They should have, come on. It's going to ruin the game. It's already made the game where they can't stand on their own feet. The money every day is going out of your players' hands, and it's, look at the guy who made 80 billion or whatever. Well, where's that money going to get recycled? Now you're going to tell me he's betting 100 million a day. Yeah, he's betting 100 million, and with that 100 million, he's taking 101 home every day. You know what I mean? So don't tell me about that. There's no logic there. There's no reason for this stuff. It's got to go away. It'll probably not go away. And I think we're going to get to the point where it's on ESPN, where there's 4 groups. They got 25% of the pool each, and they play each other in betting horses.
That would be a discouraging scenario if
that's where it's headed, because you're going to send everyone broke. You're going to send all the loyal, and it's going to come out, and I'm going to do everything I can to force it down people's throats at every track that this is what you're betting into.
Right. I think a lot of people know it. I think
no. I'd say 90% don't know. Don't look at people who are engaged on social media, guys who play contests and that. That's not the core of this business. The core of this business, these guys who get their paycheck, go to the track, they buy a program for $1. That, you know what I mean? They're betting. These are the guys. There's a lot of them. These are the guys that keep this game going. These guys come in with $100, $200. There's so many. You think it's the big guys? The big guys are one thing, but a ton of little guys. There's a ton of little guys going to the track for years and years and years, and they're sheep to the slaughter. They got no chance to begin with, and you want to rob them.
I agree with that in theory, but you still think that today, in today's environment, that and don't get me wrong, I've been a proponent of taking care of the everyday racetrack going fan since I started past the wire, and always have felt that way and still do to this day. But you still think that those people are the driving force? You don't think we moved away now to
no. If you take away the computer bettors, right? I live at the racetrack. When the racetrack is open, whether it's Gulfstream, I live in there. And I see the people. I see the same faces every day. They're there every day. If these guys ever won the lottery, they bet it all. These are your customers. These are your bread and butter. And you want to destroy these guys who destroy themselves by themselves. And you want to pick at them like a piece of raw flesh. It's a shame. It's a shame, really. It's a shame. You come up with a computer program and all this and all that. Hey, start betting at 10 minutes to post if you want to put all. But this rapid fire thing, and nobody knows what odds are and this and that. It's just on so many levels. It's not right. It's not right at all. You want a rebate? Go into the track, bring your losing ticket like in Hong Kong on certain bets, and we'll give you 10% back and bet it back. Never mind this money. All these big groups making money. I understand capitalism, right? I'm a big boy, and I understand that's the way the world works, right? They're just taking money out, taking money out, taking money out, and taking money out. And another trainer has to retire. Another trainer has to retire. And there's no money for purses, and now thank God the slots are in. Without this game used to be a self-sufficient game. It was a big money game, and all of a sudden, where's all the money going? Well, let's get some slot money here. Let's get some gambling money here. Let's get this here. Let's get that here. Oh, you got a business here that can make it on its own. Open your eyes. Stop with this garbage and letting these people in. Let them go find a job.
You think right now? And let's take, I don't know enough about Canada to speak on this, but you think right now racing in the United States could make it without slot money and without the so-called whales that are betting through the syndicates and through the computers?
I think if you did that, nobody would even attempt to try to make it. That's the problem. When you're on welfare, you go on welfare for long enough, sooner or later, the guy says, oh, by the way, there's a job There's a job sleeping in a chair across the street. You got $100 an hour. I don't know. You know, you get into that rut, right? So it's racing's dependent on welfare. Not every place, but a lot of places. You know what I mean? You know, it's like they're just letting their money go to slots. They're letting their money go to contest sites. They're letting money go to these computer groups. I don't get it. I just don't get it. I don't get it. You know, fixed odds is trying to get a hold. It's a bad thing. Is it a good thing? You know, like,
what's your take on fixed odds? I wanted to ask you that.
I look at it, for me, I destroyed those companies.
Right.
I made about $500,000 with it. There's a way to do everything, right? It's an advantage. I hear someone say, well, if you win, they cut you off. I go, yeah, win first, make a nice score, and then complain they cut you off. So what? So what? It's not the only thing. Any option. I think roulette was a good option. You don't. No one I know plays it, but I seen it. I seen a group of guys. I was the same thing. I was a pessimist about roulette, and people can laugh at me. I was at Gulfstream one day, and there was a group of 6 guys, Italian gentlemen, right? And there's 4 of them reading the forums, and 2 of them talking about their kids in the back, not this and that. And then one guy goes, "Mama, Giuseppe, roulette," right? And the guy explained it to him. So the 2 guys who didn't know nothing about horses were just hanging out with their buddies. They started betting red and green, and they had fun. It was a way for them to engage. To come, they say, you know what? Let's go back with the boys, and yeah, we can bet $2 on this. At least we know what red and green and black is. You know what I mean? And people shoot this shit down and shoot it down. It's not for you. It's not for me. So how do you get people who come for the first time to engage in this game? You're going to give them a crash course how to read the form in one day? Good luck with that. And it is the secret to teach people how to read the form. Once somebody learns how to read the form, they're gone, man. It's like taking a jolt of heroin. You're gone once you can read that form. But get them to engage, to come back. So what, red and black? Oh, the pool's only $300. These people don't even know what a pool is other than go swimming. Let them have fun. Let them come back. Do odd even. Do whatever you want. Bet names on a wheel. Spin a wheel in the corner. Let people come to the track and have fun. No, roulette's no good, but let's give out vouchers to go down to the slots and get a free spin. That's good, right? It just drives me crazy, man. This shit drives me crazy. Excuse my language, but it drives me crazy. And it's like horse players, they try to be, intellectuals and arrogant. Roulette. Who would bet roulette? That's who would bet roulette. The people that you want to come here and want to start living here in the racetrack, to come in the racetrack.
Interesting perspective, Hammer.
It's not about what we want, right? What we all want is people to come to the track and bet their money. Everyone wants that. Everyone's on the same page with that. Horse players, trainers, track management, everyone. And they shoot down, what's a brilliant idea? They shoot it down like it's the biggest joke in the history of the game. It's mind-boggling how stupid and arrogant horse players can be. It is the stupidest subspecies of the human race, horse players, guaranteed. No offense to most people, but it's just like, and it's not that they're stupid outside of the track. They get in the track and they get around and they can't function anymore. You can't see that bringing these fish is a good word, fish off the streets to play roulette. If they start playing roulette, they might play in the pools and help you. You can't see that. I want to be an arrogant. I'm a professional horse player. Well, I play one on the computer anyway, and roulette is, roulette. You got to be an idiot. Like, it kills me, man. Don't you see? It's not about you. It's about this game, and no one sees this game as a whole. It's just, I'll go nuts talking about it.
That I thought was interesting is when they legalized sports betting, a lot of people thought that, people that bet sports would gravitate to betting on horses. Like at Monmouth, they have the casino there. But that really hasn't been the case. You've had sports betting get a little bit more popular and get some of our customers, so to speak, but very little people that have been, traditionally sports bettors have moved over to horses.
Okay, I'll give you the first test of that was Delaware Park. Right. I used to go Delaware. I started going around 2010-ish to 12, around then, and we go there for turns. Go to Delaware Park. Friday, it's a big plant. Friday it's busy. Saturday it's jam-packed with horse players. Sunday you come in at 11 o'clock, and on the main floor, the biggest floor space, all the mutuals right across. They're lined up from the mutual to the far wall to bet 1 o'clock football at 11:30. You have to go up to the third floor to find a TV with horse racing on it. So, what does it tell you, man? It's like, there's, you know, I'm at Delaware Park. I'm from Philly. I'm betting Philly over Washington. And those parlay cards they had were a ripoff, 3 teams, and it was a total ripoff and lined up. And what are these guys doing? They're putting competition in their own house. It's like you own a meat store, right? You own a meat store, and you let the best butcher in the city rent your main floor, and you go into the basement. And you expect people to come in the basement and buy meat from you.
That's horse racing.
That's what they do. They say, come to the basement. They give you better comps. Their washrooms are cleaner. Everything is cleaner. They call you sir and this and that. And you expect them, at Woodbine is down and up, but every place that has them, every casino treats people better than the racetrack does, and it's part of the upkeep, and I understand the economics of it, but it's just madness. And I'll say the same thing. I get into arguments about contests. Believe me, for every one player that starts in contests and goes to horse racing, 1,000 go the other way. And contests are okay. It's good for I'm not talking about for the customer. The customer has a choice. They can play contests. They feel more secure like that. But for horse racing, anyone thinks contests are good for horse racing? I don't care who they are. They're out of their minds. It's good for horse players to have options, yes. But if you think it's good for horse racing, no way. I'll debate. You might as well debate politics or religion with me. You'll get further. And you won't get far with that either. So it's like the insanity that goes on. It just kills me.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that as well. There's a couple of things I don't agree with, but I agree with your take on sports betting for sure, and I agree with your take on contests being.
Let me ask you a question. Back in the 90s, right? When you're playing, you go to Belmont Park on a Friday. How packed was it?
Crowded.
On a Friday.
Crowded every day.
You go there now on a Saturday.
You could shoot a gun and not hit anybody.
Yeah, unless you're up where the owners and trainers are up on the third floor, right? Yeah. Now, Woodbine, I'll have to give Woodbine credit, right? Woodbine is pretty busy. But I remember going to Greenwood on a Monday night, and there was 30,000 people. You couldn't find a spot on a Monday night. Now, I understand there's more options and more tracks, but we've the city that was inside Greenwood had more options for you than the city at Woodbine. And believe me, Woodbine's a beautiful track, right? It's a fan-friendly track with all the different dining rooms. But Greenwood back then, in those days, it was a village. It was different. It's like, and it was people jammed every night, jammed. And I don't know. I understand simulcasting and that, and the modern age. You back then you had to go to the track to make a bet. You couldn't bet from home and that. But believe me, it wasn't about betting for a lot of people. It was being social. It was the place to be, man.
To the track, absolutely that experience. I lived in Toronto for a while. You know that, and I used to go to Woodbine, and this is before they did the gambling tax code reforms here in the States. So we were still paying those, ridiculous taxes. And
well, that was only 2 years ago. Yeah, no kidding.
When I was there, I could tell you, I don't remember the year, but it was, I hit the pick six. It was either the Sunday, I think it was the Sunday after Big Brown lost the Belmont Stakes. Okay. And that night, well, I was at Woodbine actually, and that Sunday, I think it was that Sunday, the very next day, I wound up hitting the pick six at Woodbine, okay, and it paid, I want to say, memory, I can't remember, $110,000 or $120,000. There was the carryover from Belmont Day, paid 110, 126, 120,000, like somewhere in that neighborhood, and I had never hit nothing like that at Woodbine while I was there. So I called my girlfriend and I said, listen, you got to come to the track. I want you to cash this ticket. I don't have ID. No. She goes, no, you don't need any of that. I'm like, what are you talking about? And that's how I found out that there was absolutely no gambling tax or anything at all on gambling wages in Canada at the time. And I went to the window and I cashed the ticket myself. They didn't even ask me for ID. Nothing. They didn't even know I was from the States. Nothing. Nothing. They just gave me the money, the full amount. I was like, this is the greatest thing in the world. I don't understand this. I felt like I was stealing.
Yeah. I had the same story around 14, 15, playing a contest at Woodbine. These two guys from Ohio were sitting next to me. We hit it off. We're talking. The guy goes to me. He goes, "You're from here, right? From Toronto?" He goes, "Yeah." "You have ID?" I go, "Yeah." So I go. He goes, "Okay." And he goes, "Can you cash a ticket for me?" And I'm not, it's 4,000. So I went up and cashed the 4,000. I gave it to him. He goes, 10% okay? I go, "What the hell are you talking about?" He goes, 400 for cashing what? For walking over there and back? Right? I go, "I thought you had a sore back or something." He goes, "What do you mean?" I go, "What do you mean?" We didn't get each other. Like, I didn't know what he was talking about. He goes, "Well, I have to give you something for cashing the ticket." I go, "Okay, give me a bottle of water. It's free." He's going, "But," I go, "Bro, what are you trying to say?" He goes, "Don't you get tax?" No, I said, "Now I got it." I go, "No, no, no, there's no tax here. Just go. You can put 10 million in there. They'll give you 10 million. Well, it's like me. I have a safety deposit box in the bank, and there's no money, jewels, or anything in there. All there is these slips saying where I won my money from.
Right.
In case the government comes after me one day. In Canada, that's when I hit in 2015, 300 and something thousand American and 60,000. So like about 500 G's in contests American. And, it's all in my bank in Canada. And I go to do my taxes, and I haven't done taxes in ages. I never had any income, didn't bother with it. And tax guy, comes to me, and I said, "Here's all the stuff." And he calls me, he goes, "Yeah, you should be getting around 2,200 back." And I go, "Are you out of your mind?" He goes, "No, no, it's okay." I go, "You're out of your mind." I go, 22. I go, "Just pay what I'm supposed." I go, "Don't get fancy." Because nothing fancy here. I go, "Listen, I don't want to go to jail. I don't want," he goes, "Listen, it's your money." I go, "Explain it to me." He said, "Well, you didn't file for you get these credits every year, $20, $60. He goes, "They add up. You're entitled to it."
Right.
I go, "I don't want it." He goes, "No, you got to take it or else it's a red flag." I go, "What about the money?" He goes, "Well, you won that gambling. Well, put on my income tax. I'm a gambler." He goes, "You can't do that." I go, "Why not? I've heard it done." He goes, "Yeah, by drug dealers, mobsters." He goes, "If you put down on your income tax that you're a gambler when gambling is not taxable," he goes, "you're gonna get 5 different levels of police and government looking at you." He goes, "Trust me, it's your 2,200." And he was right. Just mind blowing, mind blowing.
Right.
Cashing 1.2 million almost and putting it in the bank and zero tax. And and I don't even want to tell you all the other advantages I have from being that low income.
Right. No, I'm sure. I'm sure. Now, let me ask you this. When I was doing it, and we did it a little differently, you kind of streamlined it and, had fun. Me, I was all business and doing a lot of work and a lot of homework and studying hard. And it made my life a little different. I made a lot of sacrifices, relationship wise, social life wise, friend wise, things like that. I was all business at the track. I didn't socialize. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I didn't want to be bothered. I didn't miss a day, because any day I missed could be a day that I missed a score. So I went every day. Did you have to make sacrifices in your life to maintain the lifestyle of a professional gambler? And if so, what kind of sacrifices did you have to make?
Well, I think huge sacrifices. I learned at a young age. I told you my story hanging around gamblers, and I've obviously, for every good story, I've seen 100 bad stories, and I've seen people lose their houses, their family, and I was cognizant of that. I'm saying, hey, I love doing this, right? I just said to myself, I'm not going to destroy other people because of this. I'm not going to borrow money off my family to gamble. I'm not going to bring a wife and kids, and destroy. I've seen it happen over and over and over and over. And you hang around gambling circles, even if you don't, you see families affected. But I've seen it more than anyone. I told you about that guy, Nino, the older guy when I grew up, you know what I mean? Here's a guy had everything. Then he looked like a hobo with a, back then it wasn't crack, but she looked like a crack whore, but, like really, like, and so I, by the time I got my shit together, I'm 45, 46. In my mind, it was too late for kids. And for me, I don't need to get married. The only reason I would ever get married is to have kids. It's the major sacrifice I made in my life, is not having kids. Really, it bugs me a lot, but I understand. I did the right thing. I did the right thing, because who knows? I could have been a degenerate loser my whole life. Who knows? The odds were I would have been if I stuck to it, right? You know, I was a realist.
You're talking to somebody that 100% understands what you're saying. 100%, because I lived it myself, so I'm 100% on the same page with you. Would you agree if I asked you point blank, poker is a skill game? You would agree to that, correct?
Yes.
Okay. If I asked you horse racing, skill game, yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Why is it, in your opinion, then, if we have a skill game, why is it that maybe 5% of the people who play it, and people tell me I'm nuts when I say 5%, but I believe the number to be 5, maybe even as high as a 7 or 8%. And people tell me I'm nuts, but I got my own opinions and I don't care what they think. But we know the number's low. Why do you think, if we're talking about a skill game, the percentage of people who can beat it is so small?
In which game? You're talking just horse racing?
Horse racing.
Yeah, takeout.
Takeout. That's
Then
what you.
but then you want to get takeout, and then with the hidden takeouts, the computer players, a hidden takeout.
Okay. What else?
20-cent pick six. A mirage of a cluster hidden takeout. Now you're bumping takeout and people thinking, well, it's 20 cents. Look at this great game. I can play for 20 cents and have a shot. I have a shot now. Got no shot, you dumb, right? But I don't think poker is that beatable either. I think poker, I used to think, these poker stars were glamorous. If they don't get sponsors, they get raked to death too. An old timer told me in Vegas once. He goes,
right, yeah, but that's different. That's different poker. Okay.
If you try to chop in the old days what they chop at a poker game here, you get shot and robbed. He told me, this is insane.
But
And poker players.
I'm talking about, okay, I grew up playing poker. Okay, before the poker boom, okay. I used to hang out in a place in Brooklyn, and people that watch the show know this, called Bedford Park. Okay, we had poker games every night in the summer. Okay, we used to take 2x4s, put nails in them up, and put them at all the entrances of the park. So when the cops came in, they would get flats, because we used to get raided in the poker games in the summer. But we had some serious poker games and some big games, and ultimately, I was maybe 14, 15. By the time I was 16 or 17, I was playing in clubs, wound up dealing in clubs. And my mom used to play in the clubs where I used to deal and whatnot. And it was just a way of life. They were called Las Vegas nights, but they were clubs where the cops didn't come to, and, they were legal. And we used to play poker. And I learned how to play like watching TV. Okay. And, I used to play a lot. I don't really play anymore, and I never play online. But I could go to a poker game, okay, and watch the table for 5 minutes and tell you, Hammer, there's no problem. I could take all the money at this table. I mean, on that level, it's a skill game, okay. Online is different, and Vegas is a little different. But even in Vegas, and even most recently, I played was several years ago, and again, going back to like 2007, 2008, I got into a game at the Pompano Harness Track, okay, where they have the poker room over there. So a friend of mine says, John, he goes, don't play in this game. I'm like, why? He goes, because you got these 3 or 4 guys. They were Israeli guys. They're playing as a team. They're just setting everybody up at this table. They play. I says, doesn't even matter. Let them try. Then a piece of cake, and I won. I beat them all. So poker to me is a skill game if you play it in the right environment. I would never play online. Don't play online. But horse racing, I believe, is a skill game. Completely different type, because there's a lot more. Poker, of course, you got to have certain cards, and the cards, the luck of the draws, a factor. But horse racing to me is a little different, because there are more intangibles, and there's more luck involved, but the odds can be much greater. And if you, key point you made earlier, knowing how to bet can level that playing field.
Yeah, that's where I think it's the same in both, John, right? I think it's the same in both. You
Okay.
don't need cards to win in poker. You just have to know how and when to bet.
Right. Okay.
You know, and really, I'm almost confident that I could take anyone else's selections, their handicapping, and I'll do better than them the way I gambled in the long run, right? I'll do better. And the same thing too is if I went into a room of horse players and I said, okay, everyone, let me see the last tickets you guys bet. I could look at their tickets in a heartbeat and say, fish, fish, fish. You, I would cut off my hands if I were you. You're real bad. You're okay. Just like you could say it in poker, I could see it in horse race. Just show me your tickets right now in your pocket, and I could, bum, 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 bum. It's
funny
it's a different game. It's a different game. It's a different game, right? It's a different game, and both games in the long run, luck ain't gonna do it in the long run.
100%.
Might do it today, might do it tomorrow. In the long run,
right? No, I agree. That's why they're skilled.
I grew up. I played a lot of poker too. I learned as a kid. We used to play 32 card hold'em. The Greeks called it boomba.
Right.
Right. You play from the 7 to the ace. The ace could be used. The first lesson I learned was the ace can be used as a 6 in a small straight. Right. And the second lesson I learned, if you ever have a small straight, you're probably going to get cleaned out with that short deck. It's where the flush beat the full house. Right. It was a great game. We played it in my house, my uncles, my dad, everyone, the same thing. Everyone played it. The Greeks, the Italians, the same way in the park. They played boomba.
Right.
They either played Italian cards, Scopa, Treset, all these games. Briscola, I grew up playing all those games for money. But, this poker game, skill set, I think poker is more, you got to beat the 6 guys, 7 guys at the table. And horse racing, you got to beat the game.
Right.
Now, I understand I got to beat the other players in the game in horse racing too. But I think it's more fair to say you got to beat this game.
Right.
You beat this game because you're not playing against, even though I might be playing against you, I have no defense against you. I have no way of reading you. You know what I mean? Your tendencies don't matter.
Right.
Don't matter to me.
Right. You got to try and take as much money out of the pool as you can take,
Yeah.
It's different. Poker, you're playing,
Yeah, you're playing the 8 guys in front of you. And the more you know about them, the better off you are. That's your handicapping. Right. You're not handicapping the cards or that you already know that it's a preset, set of skills you got. You're handicapping the guys at the table.
Right. And getting back to another point you made, and this is something I've said on shows and I've written in articles, and it goes to like you said, knowing how to bet, knowing all these screws out there that just have no clue of what they're doing. You could show me anybody's tickets, and I'll just use social media as an example because it's so popular. But I see people on social media that post tickets and they say, "Oh, here's my ticket," and some of them are winning tickets. And I could look at those tickets and tell you, this guy in the red every year, no shot that they're beating the game. I would bet 1,000 to 1 that if we looked at their stats for the year, there is no shot they're in the black, let alone making a living. Because I don't really consider that. Like if you're the kind of guy who bets 100,000 over the course of a year, or 200,000 over the course of the year, and you make 5,000, 6,000, 3,000, you eke out a little profit on your investment over the course of a year. To me, you're staying alive. You're not beating the game. You know what I mean? Beating the game is winning 50, 100, 150, 200, 250,000, 300,000 over the course of the year. That, to me, is beating the game. That's the benchmark. When you're making a decent amount of money based on how much you're investing over the course of the year. So when I say beat the game, I don't mean grinding out a little bit of profit,
Yeah.
I'm talking about beating the game where you're making money.
Yeah, I have a friend of mine who's posted some real beauties, right? And consistently, right? And I give him shit. I'll say, he's not one of these guys just boxing numbers, right? He's a real sharp handicapper. And I said, you're overcoming it. You're overcoming this game with your handicapping skills, and you're happy you're making consistent scores, but you're leaving so much on the table. You know, because when you're playing those spread tickets and you're hit consistently, it's that day, you know, there's no reason to spread where you could hit a $20 one and still make that 18,000, that 19, 20,000. And you know, and I try to tell them, you know, you spend 300 on a ticket, spend another $40 on spreads, you know, on presses. It might, you know, eclipse that main ticket eightfold, right? And he gets it, and he's the only one out there, right? He's the only one out there I know that's good enough to overcome that bad gambling.
Right, and it's
Right.
very difficult to do.
But you can do it. But I'll give you an analogy. There used to be this burger place in high school, and Friday, Saturday night, it was jammed till 2 in the morning. Worst food possible. You order fish and chips, the batter would be yellow, the burgers were green, but it had this atmosphere, this flow, and this and that, and it was jammed, so you can't say nothing to them. Some new guy came in, improved a few things. You know, this is after so many years. Now he was jammed 7 days a week. That's what people don't get. Things are going good. Don't change it. It ain't broke. Yeah, okay. That's a, you know, that attitude I get. Security. But hey, if you fix it, it could really, you know, be a lot better. And that's what, you know, I try to preach to people. I don't care if you're winning. You know, my ROI is this. Your ROI is this. You're still going to get up and do 2 jobs every day. Right. Your ROI is Ugats, is what it is. You don't. Nobody. I don't care who it is. Nobody wants to go to work. Right? If you tell me somebody who says I love my job, his boss is listening.
Right.
Very few. I'm sure there is. Right? I know one thing. I love my job my whole life. Right. That's for sure. And still work. I don't want to do it anymore. You know what I mean? Everyone says, you know, well, people don't understand. It's not the handicapping. It's not the handicapping that's hard. I streamlined that. It's getting there now. The brain work to figure things out and how to bet, and the people don't understand how my brain spins when I'm trying to figure out my bets and that, and get stressful. I can't wait till Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday when there's no racing. When I was playing, I honestly couldn't, and I love the races as much as anyone alive, but I couldn't wait till those 3 days where I didn't have to do anything.
Right.
You know, and I loved what I did. You know, but even it gets to the point when it becomes a job and making money, and there's pressure to produce and all that. It's like anything else, you know, like I just don't understand. I understand people got families and that, and no matter how much money they make in gambling, they got to keep their jobs and that. But who would really want to? Right. Come on. Who would really want to? So don't start. People talk to me about ROIs and this. Oh, what doesn't matter? That's one guy asked me, one guy, you know, I was doing this thing, and the guy goes, we keep track of ROIs. I go, I use the Kelvinator method. And he goes, what's the Kelvinator method? I go, I look in the fridge. I know how good I'm doing.
Yeah, no, I agree.
That's all I know about what I'm eating. What do you call them? Roman noodles with tuna. They ain't going too good, right? It ain't going too good. A steak, you know, with a couple lobster tails, and you don't have to keep score. Fucking life is good.
You know, I've always said that one of the reasons that it's so tough to beat this game is that beating it goes against human nature, because the human nature is to cash as many tickets as possible, which leads to these spread tickets. Okay. And I have a friend of mine who bets these kind of tickets, who I argue with all the time and tell him, you're a good handicapper, but you're a terrible bettor. And a couple of months ago, and I've mentioned this before, he hit a ticket for 6,000. It was a pick 5. Okay. And it was one of those spread tickets. And there was one race that he loved the horse. And he was like, I love this horse, love this horse, love this horse. And he shows me his ticket and says, you see the way I bet? I hit for 6,000. I said, but look, the race you love this horse, okay? You use 3 horses. You use the horse you love. He goes, well, I used the 2 horses that could beat him. I'm like, no. But you loved him, you told me. You loved him. So you use the horse you love and 2 other horses. He goes, but yeah, this way, if you look, I says, you think you won 6,000.
Yeah, you lost 12.
You lost 12,000. Okay. And at the end of the year, enough times you do that, I don't care if you came out winning, you're winning less than your handicapping should have had you win if you knew how to bet, and you were able to overcome that human instinct to cash as many tickets as I can, so use as many horses as I can afford to use. I always say, and I've told you this before for years, cash less, but win more. Don't look to cash as many tickets. Look to bang, make it count when you win. And I think that is one of the things people have to understand in order to have a chance of, quote, beating the game.
Yeah, and racetracks should take the ball and start to educate people on that, because those people that want that instant gratification, you know where they go?
Yeah, I know exactly where they go. I know exactly where they go.
Ding, ding, ding. Two
Right.
cherries, one banana, three bananas, one eggplant. Yeah. That's what happens to those people. No, really, instant gratification. And like what I said earlier about all these small bettors, right? I know I would buy all these small bettors, and they're small bettors, but they go there every day. The only days they don't go to the track is when it's closed, and they're there from day to night. They're all in the slots because they'll get a free coffee. They'll get this, they'll get that. If they play $10, they'll get a voucher for a sandwich, or you got to bet 100 at the horses. They get treated like a somebody, you know. And it's that they play and they play and they play and they sit there and they play, and somebody's beside them and they're talking and they play. Ooh, spinning. Ooh, nonstop. You know, that's what people want. They want action. You know, it was the old analogy, right? You know, guy came into the pool hall, used to hang out on, and the guy wasn't a regular. He wanted to play, you know, they were playing Ramino, which is Italian version of gin, with 2 decks and 13 cards and 4 jokers, right? And so he comes in, he meets his friend, right? And he goes, I'm going to play. He goes, yeah. And he starts pointing at the guys and he says, chips, cards, chips, cards. He goes, okay. So I said, well, what's this chips and cards? He goes, those guys are playing for the chips. Those guys just want the cards, right? So he was basically telling them, Sharpies, fish, wolf, sheep, you know, and that's the analogy I learned. You know, some people just want to hold the cards, and some people just want the chips.
Right.
And that's what you're describing. You're describing the guy. It's like the Grand Slam bet, right?
I don't even know what a Grand Slam bet is. I know there is one, but
I'll give you without telling you what it is. I'll tell you what it reminds me of. In the old days, you used to buy a porno, right? You know, I don't even know, the DVD, the beta, and have 5 scenes on it, right? So the four first scenes were like, I don't even know the Grand Slam. It's 5 races, I think, 4 shows and 1 win, or 3 wins, and it's like whatever. I've never played it in my life. So the first few scenes, right? You know, you're betting show, you're taking it easy. And then in the last scene is where you try to hit the home run, if you know what I mean. That's what it is. It's a bet to keep somebody alive. It's someone, and that's what these guys spread with these 20 cents. I'm alive. For what? I don't know. But I'm like today, the Gulfstream Park, $320 on the pick 6. I'm alive. Oh, it feels good. I'm alive. You don't know you're alive. Cut off your hands.
I agree. Now, you have no kids, okay?
I got a cat.
Okay, well, I have 8 dogs, so I guess
you got help.
Right, I do have help. Still a lot of work. Let me ask you this: honest, straightforward answer. And I can't say if you had a kid because you don't, and we never really know how we would have, but a young man, 16, 18 years old, who you really like and care about, okay? A friend's kid, a nephew, someone you really, truly care about. Today, in this age, okay, the world is today, comes to you and says, Hammer, you've been a successful gambler. I want to become a professional horse player. I want to do this for a living. This is what I want to do. I don't want to work. I don't want to do anything else. I want to be a horse player. What do you tell him?
I've just run through this with somebody I met who told me in Florida, and his son had a gambling problem. And he thinks he knows he's the greatest, you know, sports bettor, poker player. And he goes, he loses everything, right? Because I don't know what to do. I said, let me talk to him, right? He goes, what are you going to do? I go, I'm going to teach him how to become a professional horse player. He goes, please. I go, just let me talk to the kid. I go, you know me. So the guy says, he goes, yeah, my father, I can't believe how you convinced my father. I go, yeah. I go, I can make you a millionaire betting horses. He goes, how do I do it? I go, how much money do you have right now to your name? He goes, I got a couple thousand. I go, listen, work hard for a few years, save about 50 G's, and then we'll make millions. And he goes, really? I go, I promise. So I don't know where it's gone, right?
All
But
right.
that's my way of saying, what are you, crazy? So if he goes to work for 2 years and saves 50 G's, I think it'll be clear to, the gambling will be out of his system. He'll say, look at this. I worked 2 years. I saved 50 G's. This is the game.
Right.
There's a guy who's working, right? If the kid wasn't working, right? At that age is too young to corrupt someone, right? But if
Right.
someone, but even I have friends that come and say, hey, I want to do what you do. You know what I tell them? Quit your job, sell your house, bring me 500 G's, and we'll kill them. And they all say, what are you, crazy? I go, no, what are you, crazy? This ain't for everyone, my friend. This
No.
ain't for everyone. You don't know, I'll give you a good scenario too. So we're out, me and my close friends before COVID, we're all having dinner, and this guy starts talking about the stress at work, and this guy's in charge of stress. And I go, tell me about it. They all start laughing. They go, what stress do you have? Right? They're all laughing. I go, listen, if I don't produce at work, I don't eat. You understand?
That's what I used to tell people 100%.
I don't get a note on my file. There's not a note on my file. Tommy has to do better. I don't eat. I'm out the door. I go, you don't know what stress is. And they all look at me with their eyes. Their eyes said, I'm sorry, right?
I get it. When I was playing professionally, people didn't understand. Okay, girlfriends, no, I couldn't have no girlfriends. I had to have the arrangements. You
Yeah.
just couldn't do it. I love nice cars. You know that. I like my car. I had to pay cash. You ever try going in a car shop and get a loan, putting down at your professional gambler? I could be buying $120,000 S-Class Mercedes, putting down 80 grand, wanting to finance 40, and they're telling me no. Put down professional gambler, automatic, no. We don't care what you put down. So sacrifices. But one thing I wanted to say, and this show is about you, and I know I talk too much, but when I asked you about the kid, I think your answer is spot on. What you would
Yeah,
say.
the basic answer was, are you out of your mind, kid? It's
Right.
not, get away from me. But that's what I told this guy. I tried to give him good advice. Work for 2 years, save 50 G's, and then come to me and we'll make millions. Because I know if he works hard for 2 years and saves 50 G's, he'll never gamble again.
Reminds me of a funny joke. I'll be quick about it. Guy takes his wife to Vegas. Okay, gives her 500. Says, "You go play slots, gamble, do whatever you want to do, have some fun. I'm gonna go do what I do." So sure enough, he's gambling, she's gambling. They wind up going back up to the room later. He goes, "How did you do?" She goes, "I lost the 500." He goes, "You lost the whole 500 I gave you?" She goes, "Yeah." She goes, "It goes fast. Before you know it, I was playing the slots. I played a little roulette, but the 500 was gone." He goes, "I can't believe it. One night you lost the whole $500. She goes, "Well, how did you do?" He goes, "I lost 4,000. She goes, "You lost 4,000. You're complaining about me losing 500. He goes, "Yeah, but I know how to gamble."
There you go. Yeah, I'll give you gamblers. An old guy passed away, gambler, old timer. This Seymour, this old guy I used to hang out with for his later years. He said, "You know what a gambler is, right?" He goes, "I'll tell you a story. In the old days," he goes, "this gambler goes into the deli. He sees a sign: pickles are 2 for 15 cents. So he says to the shop owner, 'How much is one?' The shop owner goes, 8 cents. He goes, 'I'll have the other one.'" He goes, "Gamblers will bet 10,000 without blinking, but to save a penny elsewhere, all of a sudden they're mathematicians."
You talked about the guy wanting to make millions betting horses. Okay. You know what I always tell people when they ask me, how do I make millions betting horses? Easiest way. You want to make a million betting horses? Start with $1 billion.
Yeah. I was going to say something else, but
start with $1 billion. You'll wind up with $1 million.
or become the house.
Right. Or become the house. Right. Now, Hammer, you've been great with your knowledge and your stories. I love
I
them.
enjoy it, man. I enjoy it more. I can talk about horses.
No, I got more. I got more. I'm not letting you.
Good. I'm not going anywhere. The cat's not up yet, so we're good.
Tournaments or cash play. Now, I never played tournament. I played 2 tournaments in my life. I played 1 tournament online that somehow I decided to hook up with. I was on the leaderboard for a little while. I lost interest. I don't even know how it ended out. I didn't win. The other tournament I played was some sponsored tournament that Aftercare put up that they invited me to play in, and there were a bunch of NHC or a couple.
I remember that at the Breeders' Cup.
Right, right, and I won it. That Saratoga tournament. You even told me halfway through you're home, okay? Because the tournament lasted the whole.
I was trying to jinx you. I bet on someone else.
But I won. I won the tournament, and Nicky Daggs Pitbull, who's my partner on the website, he got a little worried because I was out front for like half the Saratoga meet because it was a meet long tournament. Okay. And then somebody started closing in, and he says, "You're gonna lose this?" And he says, "You can't lose to these people." I says, "Don't even worry about it, man. I'm taking a breather. It's like a horse. I'm on the lead all the way. I got to take a breather. The last week, I'll come back. I'll bury them all." And I did. I won it. So, but I don't really play tournaments. I don't know a lot about them. I've spoke to you. I always used to feel that if I got into it, there's a Breeders' Cup betting challenge with my name on it. I know you won it. You're a Breeders' Cup betting challenge champion. But I've never played. And there's reasons. You know, one year I was going to buy in and play, and then I read the rules and I didn't like them because I think that if my bankroll is 7,500 or 10,000, whatever it is, I want to be able to bet it any way I want. I don't like the minimum bets forcing me to bet races. I don't like those $2 win and place NHC tournament formats where people just at the end are taking stabs, betting money on horses they would never bet on in a million years. You know, I grew up and played and beat the game without rebates. And like you said, I had a win to eat. So if I didn't win, I didn't eat. And so I don't know from that $2 win and place take a stab because that horse will get me up on the leaderboard. I got to play a horse that I handicap that I believe can win.
Well, it's
just me. But
yeah, it's people that don't know how to gamble. We've talked about it, that feel more comfortable in this setting where they don't have to gamble.
Okay.
Right? I get it. It's romper room, but even the Breeders' Cup contest that's live money, you know, they just put so many stipulations on it. They take away from really being able to say you're the best when you win it, right? Or even the best that day. I probably wasn't the best that day. Some guy hit a pick six for $1 million. He was the best. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And that's why, you know, I can't get myself to play. Like I'm thinking about, you know, should I buy in this year? You know, it'd probably be good for the website if I won it. No, I'm not saying I'd win it, but I'll give it a hell of a try. But if I just can't get myself to do it because I'm like, you know what? If
you know, you got to break out of, John. It's worrying. You know, I've talked to a good friend of mine here in Toronto, and I told him, you know, he would do well on it, and he's scared. He's scared really to fail, right? And I go, well, that's no. But I'm just saying, people just don't want, you know, when you know, I'm not saying that about you, but you got a website, like you just said, Nicky Daggs was worried about you were going to lose that contest, you know.
He was worried. I was never worried.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. But that's the mindset in that, right? You know, when I was gambling with my partner, right? And I'm going, are you giving somebody my horses? I go, they're getting pounded all the time. He goes, you haven't had a winner in 2 months. You're worried about somebody giving your horses? He goes, anyone who's been following you for 2 months has jumped off a bridge. And I always thought I could win. I always thought I was going to win, no matter how bad I was going. I thought I was going to win. So I get that thing, like now I'm doing this thing for race day Las Vegas, right? I haven't picked a winner. I give out a pick every day at Woodbine. I gave a, you know, a hard luck loss the first day, a hard luck loss the last day. In between, I'm picking 40 to 1. I haven't picked a winner. And I had a friend of mine say, like, he goes, bro, he goes, what's going on? He goes, pick a $3 horse. I go, you think my ego, I'm going to worry I haven't picked a winner? I go, I'm betting bombs this time of the year. I don't know what to play. It's hard to pick. I go, I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried if, you know, it's that stuff, you know, and believe me, subconsciously, in my way, you know, how's past the wire going to look if I crap out or this and that, right? Just play, because I'll explain it better. The lure to me in the beginning. Good friend of mine, Brian True, who basically he used the line, he won the NHC championship 2010-11. And he said, he goes, I broke my maiden in the Kentucky Derby. You know, self-confessed, going to the track with $20, $40, just having fun, hanging out, hit the big one. And so he said to me, he goes, you know, if you ever wanted to come on the road, I go play contests, this and that. And I said, you know, it was in one year out the other, let me know. He says to me, I'm going to Laurel Park in a couple of weeks. I go, Laurel Park? Fuck, it sounds interesting. I go, you know what? I'll come for the ride. So I went to Laurel Park. I played a contest. I just missed. I remember with the Gary Shkiak, was 25-1 in the last race. Just missed. Boom. I would have won the contest. And I remember looking on the scoreboard and seeing how many people didn't bet the last race. I'm talking to my partner. I go, you have to see this thing. There was 80, 90, 100 guys didn't even take a shot, and it was good money for first place. Like, you know, not only you're going to bump your bankroll to 4 or 5, they're going to throw you like 15,000. No one took a shot. And he goes, you'll kill these guys sooner or later, right? But more important than that, I enjoyed it.
For me, I'll tell you what it is.
I enjoy it. And, you know, it's not a great place, Laurel Park. It's not that it wasn't the greatest place back then. Laurel, you know, Maryland, and even though around Laurel wasn't that bad, but I enjoyed going to see a new racetrack. And then we went, you know, I ended up going to another trip I did with Brian. We went to Nebraska to play a contest. We drove to Nebraska. We went to Prairie Meadows racetrack. We went to, I couldn't even tell you the track. What's the track in Nebraska? Not Lincoln. No, not XR Ben, another one.
Well, I don't even know then. Nebraska?
Horseman's Park, I think.
Is it?
Is it Horseman's? I had the T-shirts. Yeah, I think it's Horseman's, not the one in Chicago. I think, anyways, and I had a good time. I got to meet, you know, people in Iowa. Who knows who I got? Real nice people. I love the people in Iowa. You know, and I could smoke a cigar indoors. You know, and with these old people around me, go, hey, can I smoke? Oh, what do you think we're doing? Right? I go, but a cigar. Yeah, you got another one. You know, like, and I really like the people in Nebraska, and you get to see new things. And then he says, I'm going to Keeneland. I go, what's Keeneland about? Oh, 40,000 people, everyone partying. I go, I'm out. He goes, why? I go, I like to sit with the old people in Prairie Meadows there. You know, Uncle Joe from Petticoat Junction with us. I go, that's my crowd, not this party crowd. So we went to Keeneland, and I had a great time. I fell madly in love with Keeneland, and thank God it changed my life, Keeneland.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that was my contest, right? It was just to go see places. So I'm spending, you know, $400 for airfare, $800 for hotel, and $1,000 for the contest. It was all blended in. It was to have fun. It wasn't my cup of tea. You know, it wasn't the way. I didn't take it seriously to make money. I knew how to make money betting horses, and it ends up, you know, they are romper room contests, but it's more to it. You have fun. I get it. It's addictable. I just wish somebody would do it right. You know, and I'll speak more about these 2-win plays. We used to play, you know, going back to poker, we used to play poker in the pool hall.
Right.
And the guy would charge us, and, you know, we'd have to pay $1 for a soda when they were, you know, 15, 20 cents if you buy the case, and chips, and charge us, you know, this and that. One day we figured, what are we doing here? This guy's getting all our money. So we started to have it at our homes. You know, and this way, at least somebody won, right? And going back to this is even going back now to the guy that I went to cash the ticket for from Ohio, the guys I met at Woodbine in the contest. So this guy, he goes, it's like a 2-day contest. The second day, he's there early. He goes, where can I get a phone booth? Right? I go, we have to walk in the building. He goes, you mind come with him? He gets on the phone, and he starts calling out a horse in every race at every track. Gulfstream, race 1, number 2, race 2, number 5. And he went through every thoroughbred track. And then when he was done, he had the piece of paper, and now he's writing. His buddy is saying Gulfstream, race 1. And I go, what the hell is that? He goes, me and my best friend, we Miami. I go, what's Miami? I go, what do you mean Miami? He goes, well, we bet 2 across on every horse, right? And on, I can't remember the track they play. He goes, we bet 10 across on this track. And I go, how does that work? He goes, well, I book his bets. He books my bets. I go, 2 across. He goes, believe me. He goes, with all these bets, sometimes we end up owing each other a couple $1,000s a day. And I'm going, that's brilliant. So if I'm the NHC guys, right? Why don't you guys get together, have your own contest with no chop, no nothing. You know what I mean? You want to do this mythical, you can use SurveyMonkey on the computer. Who needs anyone to chop your money? What are they providing for you other than a rake? What are they providing for you that you can't do other than a rake? You know, a place to hold your money? You know, I get it, right? I get it. Ooh, you know, well, if we do it, maybe one of us will rob. They're robbing you every day. You know, they're going in your pocket, not robbing, but they're going in your pockets every day. You know, guys got to think that, you know, just.
Right. You know what it is with me in the BCBC? I'll tell you what it is. It's not past the wire that stops me. Okay. I love the traditional $2 pick six, and the $1 one day they now have at Naira has kind of relit my fire a little bit, But I love the $2 conventional pick six. Okay, I made a lot of money playing that over the years. Hit some really nice ones, and I love the bet. I think it separates the men from the boys. Okay, and I always feel like I have an edge. So right now, the way the game is on Derby Day and Breeders' Cup Day are the only days you can really play those. Okay. And I like to play them. And I also like to play on those days the pick five, where I'll play a 10, 20, $40 pick five, which they don't allow in the BCBC. And I always worry that focusing on the BCBC, because sometimes I'm a little different than you. You come, you're prepared, you know what you're going to do. I got a good idea, but I'll sometimes adjust during the day, change my mind. I'll get that thought from the right side of the brain. All of a sudden, you know what? I love this horse all day, but now I just don't have that feeling he's going to win, and I like this horse. So I always worry that, not that I'll lose, you wouldn't lose. The horses humble everybody at some point, and they'll make you a star at some point too. I don't worry about that. What I always worry about with the BCBC, Hammer, is that it may take me away or make me mess up my shot to hit that $500,000, $1 million pick six, or hit a pick four for pick five for 40, 60, 80, $100 maybe, that nets me as much as that contest will. You know what I mean? So
you know what?
I can't
just do it once, do it to have fun, right? Do it to have fun. Take a choice. I usually, when I play a contest, I have my pick fours and that already mapped out, and I put those in. Or you could do it the opposite way.
Right.
Have your contest plays mapped out and do your other plays. You know what I mean?
Right.
Either or, right? And just do it. Have fun. You might, and then you'll know. That's the only way you'll know. Is it for me?
I'm leaning to doing it this year and taking a shot with it. You know what I mean? I'm probably going to the Breeders' Cup this year, so I'm leaning to maybe having some.
Hey, I went to the last one, right? I bet on Crazy Beautiful, right? She ran up the track, and I was out. I went back to playing horses, and I had a good time, and I made some money. Crazy Beautiful wins. The horse is around 20 to 1. I bet 7,500 or whatever I bet on it, and you take that money and bet it on Tijuana, and I win the Breeders' Cup contest by a record. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So that's it. It was two bets. They were my best plays.
I remember how much you liked both of those horses. I remember that. So yeah,
one ran horribly, and the other one ran like a freak of nature. And what are you going to do? I lost. But as soon as the first one, there was no decisions to make. I was on pick 4, pick 5, pick 3, daily double. The contest was done the night before, Thursday night. I knew what I was going to do. I'm going to bet that horse. If I win, put everything on that horse. I'd have to do some filler bets if I hit the first one to, make my bets, which when you hit the first one and, you got 150,000 or 100,000, it's easier to just to bet 900 on anything, right? Get those bets over with, no thinking, it's over. And I played horses, and I did well playing horses that week.
Now I'm going to ask you this, and only because you're a contest champion, you're a BCBC champion. And if you don't want to answer, I understand. You can say, you know what, John, I don't want to answer that, and I definitely don't want you to give any specifics out. But do you think in the BCBC specifically, the way that it's structured and the way that they play and the way that they allow computers and this and that, do you think there are any unfair advantages for certain players in the Breeders' Cup Betting Challenge, or do you think it's as on the level and as level a playing field as it can be?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, the thing that bothers me the most is that a player can play 2 picks.
Right.
I can play 2 picks under my name, right? But me and you can't put our money together and play one each as a team, right?
Surface, right? But there's no way.
But then we can just play them under my name,
right?
So you're punishing people who want to play on the up and up, and you're rewarding people that are going to be nefarious about it. I'm not saying anyone's doing it, but if somebody is playing 2 picks and they got a partner, even a 5-cent partner, they're cheating.
If history has taught us anything,
And it's just, it's only, only a few 100,000 involved. So there's no real reason to game it. So why have that rule? Either have no rules, let everyone play as many picks as they want, right? And then, what's going to happen? You're going to disqualify some guy one day. They're going to disqualify a guy because his picks look like he was playing with someone else's picks. Well, meanwhile, 2 guys can do it under the same name, and it's no problem. They can be blatant about playing them together and building it to things like that don't bother me. If I hit, none of those computer players, none of those guys will beat me. Period. No, not even God could come down and help them. God could console them and help them out in life, but to beat me when I hit, it ain't gonna really happen. It's not sour grapes. Nobody's beat me out of money. Maybe if they beat me out of money, it would be sour grapes. But why? They had a guy who was doing that with 2 picks, 4 picks. They caught him, right?
right?
Caught him, and they said he's doing it with someone else. And now they just leave loopholes there. There's a lot of other loopholes that, just be fair. Throw the rule book out. Here, go bet. Who cares how you do it? Want to be teams? Go with teams of 10. You know what I mean? And in the original days, the Horseplayer World Series in Vegas, they were sitting at a table, 10, 12 guys. They were a team playing together. They were no winners in the long run. You know what I mean? But it's just the point of it. Why punish people who want to play fairly? So, it is a pet peeve of mine, and I've playing contests, man, it's hard to speak out about it because, no matter where I go, get Gary and, even his boss, Ian, and the whole Churchill family, Ed, Scott, Joey, Bobby Joel, everyone treats me like family. They treat me well. So, yeah, I know they're out of the contest. I would never do anything to hurt them. Keeneland, Jim, Misty, they treat me like family. Tom Quigley, Nate Newby at Santa Anita, Chris Barr at Del Mar, Donnie Nelson used to run it at Naira. All these people treat me so well and become, I really like these people. And to say something to get them going, and they're not doing it right. They're trying to do their best and trying to be fair. It's just things that bother me, man. It's just, and then you hear people, I see people on Twitter, the only way to play these contests is if you buy 2 tickets. Well, that's really going to grow the game. You need 15,000 to play. And where's it going to steer everyone onto these horse tourney sites? So more money can be pilfered and,
Right.
And get that.
Like you said, if they may have a little bit of an advantage with 2 tickets, but
it's not the point. No, it's not the point, right?
You're gonna beat it.
It's knowingly giving an opportunity to people to break the rules easily. Right. So I may want to break the rules, and I can. You might have better values than me, and you won't break the rules, and it's a disadvantage. It's not right. It's not right. Just say you can take 2 picks, you can play partners, or it's 1 pick and that's it.
Right. I agree.
There's no way. It's no way. I'm not saying anyone did anything, but there's definitely an opportunity there.
And I will say this: if history's taught us anything, if there's an opportunity, people are going to take advantage of it at some point.
Yeah, it's only money. Who would cheat for hundreds of thousands of dollars? Not me, not you. Somebody.
To me, it seems like a no-brainer what you're saying. You either allow it or you don't, or you make sure it doesn't happen. To me, that's like a no-brainer.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I've thought about bringing it up to people and that, right? Talk to you about it, right? It really eats at me. It really eats at me. And like I said, I'm not saying anyone has done it, but they can do it, and that's enough for me.
I agree.
It's enough. People got to question it. Got to say what's going on here. Me and my friend, we really scraped up, 7,500 to play this together. We can't play it together. Then we want to be on a fair advantage, so we put 7,500 each. We saved all year for this, but one guy can do it with 2 picks, and you could have 8 partners. You know what I mean? It's not fair. You just can't. All of a sudden you say these are the rules. These are the rules. We want to do everything with integrity. But on the other hand, we trust you. What the fuck is that?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, hey, let's have rules or let's have no rules. And I don't care what they are. I don't care. I like to play against. You get 10 guys. You want to go on. 10 guys want to put up 100,000 each. I'll put up 100,000. Any one of them beats me, they can chop my 100,000. I'll play anyone in this game. You know what I mean? Their picks have got to be in before they can't put the picks in with a computer, and there's no rebates when you go head to head with me. But if they wanted to play with me, I'll take on everyone out there. You know what I mean? It's like, it's not sour grapes, it's not that, but let's do things right, man. Protect the people. There's people that want to really get involved, and they come in all happy and they want to play, and you're letting, you're giving people the opportunity to steal, and it's not right. It's just not right.
No, I agree with that 100%. I'm on the same page with you there. And I think that as bad as it is for the horse player and the bettor, I always say there's two groups of people that put money into this game: owners and bettors. Everybody else is taking money out of the game. Okay, everybody else. The only two groups putting in is the owners and the bettors, and they get hosed the most.
What other business, right? What other business that you go hire people, right? You go hire people, and the only ones that end up with the money are the people you hire, and you end up with nothing. Right. Prostitution and horse racing and drug dealing.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, how is it that these trainers are rolling in the dough, making themselves fat when almost no owner can make money? How is it these vets are rolling in the dough, making money when they don't produce for anyone? Nobody's winning. You're supposed to, you're supposed to get 10% of purses, but it should be 10% of the net, not the gross. And this, and owners won't get together. There's too many people with big money, and that's where it's going to go. It's going to be where either you got to be in a group, in a group where somebody's grabbing your money now before the trainer and the vet can, and you know what I mean. They're grabbing your money, they get their fees, or you just got too much money to play. Well, how can this be that the guys paying for this game got no say, and everyone is guaranteed a paycheck except the horse player and the owner? It's the craziest thing on earth. Like, where do these trainers? How do you give these trainers it's just mind blowing. It's just mind blowing. What a gaffe, man! What a gaffe.
I love that. It's the only game where the owners and the bettors are the ones not guaranteed a paycheck. Everybody
guaranteed to lose, almost guaranteed to lose, and the rest are all guaranteed to win.
Right. That's priceless. That really sums it up really, really good. Now, a few quick fun questions, rapid fire, and we'll wrap it up because we talk about getting to know Hammer. All right. We know you hit that big $1 million Hong Kong pick six not too long ago. Was that your biggest hit?
Yes.
Okay. So biggest hit, Hammer, $1 million pick six in Hong Kong. Not many can say that. I can't even say that. Toughest beat, the one beat that still stays with you.
Not there, man. Just nothing comes up. I've learned to put them out of my mind.
Okay. I only have one, but okay. All right. That's
really
good.
Couldn't come up with anything, really. I won't, because I'm good at getting rid of the negative and focus on the positive. So, and I'm the type of guy, I get a tough beat, I've learned, get over it quick, or else there's more coming. Don't go on tilt. Either quit, just let it go. And I learned to rant and rave for 5 seconds, kick a garbage can. Okay, now I'm good. If not, time to walk out.
Knowing what you know now about life, about betting, about how things have turned out for you, if we could rewind back, which we know we can't, but if we could rewind back, would you have made a different choice about what you got into and not gone into the gambling?
No. I don't know. It's once I got exposed to it. I was done. I was hooked for life. It was just a matter of turning it around.
You never sit back and say, you know what? Maybe I should have done this, or maybe I should have done that, or maybe I could have went this way or that way, or just did it a little different. No regret. No.
I know one thing. I talked to a girl that I had a crush with about 20 years after we were in school together. And when she told me how crazy she was about me, I wanted to jump off a friggin' bridge. So I would, one thing I would bring to life is just ask them all, do you like me?
Emma, thank you so much, man. A pleasure. We don't agree on everything, but we agree on a lot of things, and we go back a ways now, and we usually have fun, and it's very interesting to me how so many things in our life, experience and betting and whatnot, parallel each other a little bit. Like I said, the timetable's a little bit off. Um, but it's just very, very interesting to me. It's always a pleasure to hang with you and talk with you. And I think people will enjoy getting to know this side of Hammer and appreciate that you're such a straight shooter and just you are who you are. And like I said at the beginning, not many bettors in this game that I give props to and say sharp. And you are absolutely, well, I think that you're one of them, and there's very few, if any, people that I say that about. So thank you, man. Thanks for coming on. It was
Johnny, I'll just say in closing to all the racing guys out there, you have to believe you can do it. You heard my story. If I can overcome and do it, anyone can do it. But you got to first believe you can do it and then try. I hate to hear people say, but I got a small bank. Well, don't matter if you got $10, try to win. Just focus on winning and keep trying at it. You can do it. Anyone can do it. You know what I mean? We're no rocket scientists, me and you. We just applied ourselves and figured a way out.
Right. And another thing I will say in closing, Hammer is a very accessible guy. He's active on social media. He's active on Twitter. You can follow him. You could ask him questions. I've had people message me and tell me how helpful Hammer has been to them when they ask him a question. I met your friend Hammer. I met that guy Hammer. I asked him something and he answered me. And thank you so much. I'm accessible. I always answer everybody that gets to me. Sometimes not as fast as I'd like to because I get inundated. But I always get back to people. Hammer always gets back to people. If you have any questions.
Yeah, let me just say one thing. So I found out on Twitter that you couldn't message me if I wasn't following you, right?
Right.
So somebody made me change the setting. And what happened was people that weren't following me that messaged me, it went into something called message requests that I didn't even know was, even though it's right there. So I looked one day and I saw all these people reaching out to me in February, and I felt sick. It felt like I ignored them. And one guy was kind of, oh, who do you think you are? And I reached out to him. I said, listen, I didn't even know this. So now I took off that setting that the only way you can message is me if you follow me, tweet to me. You know what I mean? I've been helped so much. I want to help everyone.
Right, and you could tweet at him, and this video and will be on the Pastor Wire website. If you put a message in there, it's easy to just go on there and message. I'll make sure Hammer gets it. And like I said, he gets back to everybody. He's very helpful, world of knowledge. And as you can all see, he's more than willing to help people out and promote the game and teach people. And one of the things I always say is there's a lot of clowns out there that talk about how good they are and how much they do and how much they know and how much they can. Be careful who you take advice from. Take advice from people who actually beat the game. Hammer is one of them, and I encourage people to pick his brain if they get the opportunity to or they're inclined. Hammer, with that, we'll wrap it up, man. Thank you so much for coming on. I'm sure I'll see you soon. We'll be in touch, and great show, man. Really, you and I could talk horses for hours anyway, so
yeah,
it doesn't matter. But this was a lot of fun, and I think people will appreciate getting to know you a little bit.
Yeah, and just want to say one last thing. Woodbine is open tomorrow, baby. I'm going to be betting on Woodbine. My friends are going to be at Woodbine. Everyone bet Woodbine, baby.
I was a Woodbine guy, and like I said, my experience there was great. You know what surprised me the most about Woodbine when I first went there?
Clean.
It's very well. You know what I always used to say, but when I moved to Toronto, what I used to say about Toronto was it's like a clean New York. It's like New York City but clean, which I kind of like. But the turf course is outside the dirt course, which I was shocked. I was like, wait a minute, they made it wrong. They put the turf outside the dirt. What did they do?
It used to be on the inside.
Okay.
When we had dirt, We had both. So the turf course would be like the Widener course in Belmont.
Right.
So it'd start way up there on a hill, way up high, and it'd come around and come around. And now when it came towards the home stretch, it would go into the inner turf course, which was now inside of the dirt track and would actually cross over the dirt like Santa Anita. So on that turf course, we had the inner turf course on the inside. So if you started on the Marshall course and you were running a mile, you were running outside of the dirt, and then you came around and finished inside of the dirt by crossing over the dirt at the top of the stretch.
How's my old neighborhood in Toronto? When I was there, I lived in Woodbridge.
I was just gonna say, I was gonna get rid of an O and D and put in a P. Woodbridge has grown. It's grown, man. It's grown. Vaughan, Maple, King City, Woodbridge. Right. Yeah, it's a beautiful part north of Woodbine, suburbia.
Right on the border of Woodbridge and Vaughan. That's yeah.
Yeah, my people are up there. A lot of my family's up there.
All right. It was a nice area. I liked it. A little cold for me in the winter, I will say that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's cold. We got the same weather as New York, but it's cold for me in the winter anywhere. I'm cold in the winter in Florida.
That ain't the same weather as New York. It's a little bit colder than New York, but
yeah, Toronto.
Yeah, all right. I was freezing, but anyway, Hammer, thank you so much, man. We'll be in touch.
All right, John. Thank you. I enjoyed myself.
Ciao.
Good night.
Good night.
Vino Rosso has taken the lead, and it's a vintage performance by Vino Rosso.
Nobody does it better.